Thomas. How'd your first run of the day go?
Splendid! Right on time, dry rails, and smooth running.
Too much running, you might say.
All that speeding up Celgreb Hills has made me feel giddy.
Not to mention a speedy ride for the passengers.
Don't worry, I tried to keep my passengers comfortable as much as I can.
Hello again, slow coach. Better hurry if you're going to catch me.
Oh, here we go again.
Later, Casey!
Oh, see ya, Thomas.
Come on, Thomas. You'll need to go fast if you want to make this best 2 out of 3.
See you at the hills, birdie.
Rats.
Why do you always have to rush up here?
Your passengers will be cross about this.
What? Oh, excellent! 5 minutes early and 15 minutes till Mimiton.
Thank you kindly, Thomas. I'll let you off this time, but don't go playing that kind of stuff with the next train. 'Twas exciting for me, but not so much for the other passengers. Toodaloo! Right then, Thomas. Up for another race?
Not at the moment. I've got to get back to doing work properly. Maybe another day. Bye, Birdie!
Goodbye then, Thomas.
Welcome to Crotoonian Shoots, the program in which we see the Railways of Crotoonia in all of its raw wonder. For today's journey, we'll be taking you through the beautiful junction of Great Wolf Forest.
Hey, Pete. What's up?
Oh, morning, Tilly. These trucks are needed at Cliffstone Mountain Quarry urgently, but these little buggers are living up to that name. Ugh, Timothy's waiting to collect them at Baseline Quarry.
Would you like me to take them there for you?
Not too sure. There's still lots of shunting to do here in the yards today.
Please? I'm up for the challenge.
Well, all right, if you're sure. I'll go and get Rosie to help while you're gone. Take care with this lot, Tilly. They're not called troublesome trucks for nothing.
Ah, don't worry about me, Pete. I'm always up for a challenge. Hello, Edward.
Hello, Tilly. You need help with those troublesome trucks?
No, thank you, Edward. Nearly there. Nearly there.
All right, boys, back you. Hold back. Hold back.
Oh, no, you don't.
Goes above the beat. Yeah, goes above the beat.
That's better.
That must be. Whoa! Tilly, did those give any trouble to your hole?
No trouble at all, Timothy. They were very well behaved.
Wow! You're a natural at pulling troublesome trucks, Tilly. If only I was as good as you.
Thank you, Timothy.
Now let's get these trucks over to the siding. Welcome to Crotoonian Shoots, the program in which we see the Railways of Crotoonia in all of its raw wonder. Today, we're off to visit the Celgreb City Freight Depot and Carriage Yards. Welcome to Crotoonian Shoots, the program in which we see the Railways of Crotoonia in all of its raw wonder. Hold on to your hard hats, because today we're going to look around Baseline Quarry. Every so often on the Crotoonian railways, engines will be sent to work in unfamiliar places. It was on one of these occasions that Thomas was sent away from his branch line to help with a project up in the hills. There was a new depot being built high on the Cliffstone Mountains. The Crotoonian Construction Company had called for a spare shunting engine, being that Brewster, one of the company engines, was having his monthly checkup. The depot was near the village of Cliffstone Valley, which was reached by a steep, narrow line only accessible by smaller engines like Thomas and Tilly. When Thomas arrived at the site, there was a lot of work going on. Buildings needed roofing, track was being laid, and there was a lot of building materials lying around and waiting for further use. Jack the front loader and Scoop the backhoe digger were shifting dirt and rubble from new foundations when Thomas whistled in.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Jack. And I believe you're Scoop, right?
You got it. Straight from Bobsville. And Sunflower Valley. And Fixham. And Spring City.
I take it you've been around then.
Me and Bob's team certainly have.
Good morning. Pleased to make your acquaintance, Thomas. I'm Bob.
Oh, wow. Hi. No need for introductions. I've already heard so much about you, Bob. All good things, of course.
Well, I would hope so. You can tell me more later. Right now, we have a big assignment ahead of us.
Oh, yes. What will I be doing?
You will be working with Isabella and Packer to pick up and drop off materials for the site. And the forklift will be loading them up and collect all the spares we send back down.
Sure, no problem. It'll be nice to work with a new friend.
I'm sure Packer feels the same way. Just don't get too dusty or whip up too much smoke, you two. You know how I am about me paint.
Don't worry, Izzy. It's only containers and pipes and things.
How many times have I told you, Packer? It's Isabella, not Izzy.
Oh, what's wrong with Izzy anyway? Isabella's so long. Takes forever to struggle through.
It's undignified. That's what's wrong with it.
Thomas couldn't help but smile. He was glad to know the pack was getting along with their new friends. After a fashion, anyway. There were crating materials for the station, piping materials for plumbing, and supplies like fuel and spare parts of the machines to be delivered first.
I found out a long time ago. You gotta learn to say yes when life says no. Don't dwell on the bad times once they're past. That kind of thing can get you nowhere fast. 'Cause there ain't no mountain you can't climb. If you hang on tight, you just make up your mind. Once you set your heart to moving on, son, there ain't no road too long.
Stop messing around. Come on.
And when he got back, Thomas found a lot more machines working around the yard.
You need some cement over here? Don't worry, I'm on it.
Poetry in motion.
He was so fascinated by all the machines and work going on that Thomas started wishing he could do more.
I wish I could help with a bit of the building. Maybe I can. With the help of one of those breakdown cranes, I can definitely transport this load on my own.
Meanwhile, Lofty the Crane was shifting an important roofing section for the station building. The roads were packed while Rolly and Buster the steamrollers were working, so we had to ride along the railway line, which was dangerously close to the edge of the valley.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Just a little further on the road and we should be at the site.
Come on, hurry up. I gotta get my axles greased. So do I. I'll be done faster than you. I'm the better build after all. We'll see about that.
Max! Monty! Get back here! The road's not cleared!
Oh, no, you don't.
Okay, nearly at the...
No, 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 no! Oh!
What happened here?
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to help with the building process, so I thought I'd try to deliver some of these furnishings on my own, and...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that was your job.
Be that as it may, Dizzy, now's not the time for playing the blame game. We need to figure out how to get that load back up.
I got it! We could get Gripper to help. His cable is really long, and he's got a winch.
You're right. Unfortunately, right now, he's helping out at the Gridinia Bay docks.
Oh, bother. Well, now what are we gonna do?
If only we had something long enough to reach out to the end of the valley.
But where would we find that?
I got it!
Got what, Thomas?
An idea! Look, I did something incredibly silly and messed up. I'd like a chance to correct that mistake. So, may I have permission to go off-site?
Sure, but why?
You'll see soon, Bob. I promise. We could build this scaffolding into a jib. We can hook a winch onto it and use it like an old-fashioned pulley crane to get the crate.
That's a brilliant idea, Thomas. Good thinking.
Thanks, Wendy.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get to work. Can we fix it?
Yes, we can!
Yeah, I think so.
Assembling the odd contraption was no problem for Bob and Wendy, but bringing it up was another story. With the hoist fitted onto Isabella and Packer, and with the magnet hooked onto Thomas's winch, it would all require teamwork to get the job done. The container was stuck on a very awkward point of the valley. Lofty's magnet made it easy to collect it, but bringing it up would be the ultimate test.
Is everybody ready?
Ready to work.
Time to go to the rescue.
Thomas is ready.
All right, then. Let's get this show on the road!
It was a lot harder to pull a container from off the ground than pulling it on a wagon, but Thomas didn't stop. He kept heaving the container up.
I just hope the arm holds.
Wait for it! Now, Isabella! Now!
Well done, all of you.
Woohoo! Oh, we did it! Hooray!
Boy, that sure was a heave.
I didn't even get my paintwork dirty. Go figure.
Splendid job, team! And a special thank you to Thomas. You were very creative with figuring out a solution to the problem. I'll be certain to thank your controller for sending over some reinforcements.
But I'm not really all that, am I? I caused this whole mess, and all because I took up a job before asking.
Well, true, but you fixed your mistake and learned from it, I trust?
Oh, yes, of course. Next time, I will definitely ask before taking up a job, even if it looks really cool.
Then that's all that matters. At the end of the day, you are a really cognitive tank engine.
That evening, Thomas went back to the sheds to tell his friends all about the day's adventures. What's more, he had learned a valuable lesson in the importance of correcting his mistakes. As Bob and his friends taught him, with a bit of creativity and teamwork, no problem is too big to solve together.
morning, Tough Pete. Goodness, you seem positively winded this morning. Where's all that going?
Oh, it isn't really that much, Toby. Just this load from Grufflin Harbour going over to the freight yard. Anyway, what are you up to, Toby?
Oh, nothing much, actually. Taking workmen down to the city, some rocks from the quarry up to the harbour, and this load from the mines up to... where was it again? Oh yes, the marshalling yard. Those shunters need their coal, you know.
Super! Good to know we're getting good loads of the day. Oh, if you see Puffle, can you ask him if he's on his way to the freight yard now with those trucks in the yard?
Slow down, you
Oh dear! We'd better go after him. Hey, Toby!
Sure thing. We'll leave our loads here and come back for them later.
Hold on, Puffle!
Okay, Puffle, whatever you do, don't crash. I said don't crash. Don't.
Mighty machines, making mighty machines, working for you, doing mighty things there. Mighty machines, lifting and pulling and flying so high, building a building up to the sky. You can watch them all day and never know why they're mighty machines. Hear them roar, watch them soar, sit right down and see. There are stories to enjoy for every girl and boy. Mighty machines, making mighty machines, working for you, doing mighty things there. Mighty machines, working for you, doing mighty things there. Mighty machines.
Casey Jr. is a small tender engine who works mixed traffic services on the Railways of Crotoonia. He's a smart little engine who knows his way around the railway after working on it for many years.
Oh no!
Though he is prone to getting into a few scrapes every now and then. One day, he was delivering a train of fuel and coal to the Crotoonian yards of the Dreamfleet Railway Company, one of the many railway companies that work the country's railways. Big Old Rusty, Dreamfleet's oldest steam engine, was arriving with a load of empties. He had just delivered a load of slates from the quarry all the way up to the docks in Gridinia Bay.
Hey there, C. Junior. How's things?
Pretty good. Just brought over some stuff for your fuel tanks and coal hoppers.
Oh, now that's a relief. You came right in time. We're just a quarter hopper away from being empty.
Good to hear then. Say, where's Tracy?
Tracy, the little shunting engine that worked the yards, who was usually upbeat and cheery, wasn't feeling very well. She'd overworked herself in the hot sun, and, as a result, had overheated her boiler, which was electrically heated instead of using coal or wood to burn.
Oh, sorry, Tracy, but you'll have to go to the works in Colville for repairs. We just can't let you risk your boiler bursting working with all those cars and coaches.
But, sir, who's going to take my mail train? The villagers need to get their packages and letters delivered on schedule.
Casey Jr. rolled up to the workman and Tracy. He had an idea.
Hey, sir! What if I took Tracy's mail train tonight?
You, Casey Jr.? Are you sure?
Sure as sure can be, sir. I just have a goods train to take to the docks at Groflin, so I can work her train later tonight.
Okay, if you're sure. I'll let the mail depot supervisor and Miss Ella know. Workman called Miss Ella about the plan, which she approved, and the same went for the manager of the mail depot. Casey Jr. took his cars to the harbor and headed back to the sheds for a power nap. Nighttime can be very busy for the few engines who have jobs throughout the night. There's passengers to take home past the station in Norfolk, and freight to go to the factories, towns, and big ships at the harbor. The busiest type of train at night in Crotoonia is the mail train. These trains take special coaches and wagons called mail cars, where the mail is loaded on and sorted en route to their destinations, sometimes traveling by air or road. Casey Jr. was soon at the mail depot, where his wagons and loaded packages were waiting. Edward was also there, helping Johnny with the Mainline mail trains.
Evening, Casey.
Evening, Edward. How's things?
Not bad. Mainline traffic's been the same for me. I take it you're taking over for Tracy?
Yep, I'm taking her mail cars all the way down to... where exactly am I taking the mail wagons?
I figured you'd ask that. You're to take all the mail from here to Cliffstone Junction, take care of the mail on the mountain branch lines, and drop off your train at Gridinia Bay Station to let the other postal vehicles and the Pinewood Island mail engines complete the last little bit of work.
Sure thing. Drop off to Cliffstone Junction. Mail for the mountain branch, final stop at the mountains? You sure that's the right place to take them? Because the branch lines have really narrow lanes and really huge cliffs and are really high up in the river.
Calm down, Casey. You're not frightened of the mountains, are you?
Oh, of course not. I go on them all the time. It's the branch lines I'm worried about. Those rickety rails and tight cliffs make me nervous without a clear view.
Well, imagine it's like the main line, and it should be better. Goodbye, Casey Jr. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you.
The men moved quickly to ship the parcels, packages, and letters into Casey Jr.'s mail wagons. They were larger than Tracy's usual wagons, so they could fit a little more into them. Finally, the cars were loaded, and Casey Jr. was on his way. Casey Jr. slowly made his way up the line, a little worried about what would come later on. Soon made his first stop at Cliffstone Junction. Porters and workmen hurried to load and unload the mail for the towns near the stations and beyond the station. Then they set off for the first loop line, which ran from the junction, through the mountain, and up to the town of Rotoslopia. Casey Jr. soon made it to the first big slope. The track was rather steep, and there was little elbow room in the cliffs that surrounded it. It was tough to roll up the mountain at first, but Casey Jr. wasn't willing to give up just yet.
Alright, give it everything we've got. Let's go. I think. Come on, let's go. Come on. I know.
At last, after much pulling and much straining, he was finally at the top of the hill.
Finally!
Casey Jr. felt much more confident. He didn't feel like slowing down now, imagining himself along the main line as Edward suggested. If only at the worst possible time.
Casey, slow down! You're headed straight for me! Rattling rivets! What happened to you, Glazy Jr.?
Sorry, Pete. I didn't know you were coming down the hill. I was going down so fast. It was hard to see you at the bottom.
First time out with a late night mail run, eh? Well, I can't say I was perfect on me first night run, but I did learn a thing or two from me mistakes. You can't be too confident or too underconfident about working in a new way or with a new job. You just have to go in there and do your best, no matter what. That's what I've learned, at least.
Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome, C. Junior. Right, time to get going.
Pete! Where's that crate going?
Oi, what crate?
Oh, the one on your last flatbed.
I still don't know what you're rattling rivets! That crate's supposed to be at the docks! It's a specially ordered load of paving stones for a customer in the UK! The ship's leaving at sunrise!
Let me take it for you. I'm on my way to the docks anyway.
Oh, thank you, Goisy Jr. You're a real saint.
Soon, Casey Jr.'s conductor loaded the crate onto his first mail coach, and quickly Casey Jr. puffed away to finish up the mail run. The docks the crate was heading to was at Gridinia Bay, at the very end of the Crotoonian Mainline. He knew he had a lot more stops to do, so he put on full steam and got to work as fast as his wheels could let him. He wasted no time getting his other work done. There was some for the manager of Cliffstone Center Quarry, where Speedy, Bill, and Ben worked. A little bit for the manager of the logging camps. A little bit for Rotostopia Junction. A little bit for the Steelworks in Bluesburg. A little bit for Fosston. A bit for the search and rescue team. A little bit for his home in Colville Junction. Until at last he was at Gridinia Bay Junction. The yards were already booming when he got there, and the Pinewood Island mail train and Johnny were waiting for him, ready to depart.
Hey, C. Junior. Where are you heading to?
Delivery for the dock. Back in a bit.
Okay, see you later.
And after everything was done, Casey Jr. brought the crate over to the docks ready for shipping. He caught it in good time, too. The ship was completing its final loading procedures, and the crane wasted no time getting it on board. Later that morning, Sir Alan Featherington, head of operations on the Railways of Crotoonia, sent a message for Big Tim to deliver to Casey Jr. Hey, Casey! Got a message from Sir Alan! You seemed to do a good thing last night, bringing that special delivery back to the docks for Pete and sticking to your mail schedule on record time. So much so, he's taking you with him to an important trip to Boston for the weekend. He'll book you tours, a shed, and everything. Isn't that exciting? Casey, you doing okay, buddy? But he didn't get an answer. He was so tired from all the rushing around that he'd fallen fast asleep.
Somebody get this freaking duck away from me!
You can have a steam train if you just lay down your tracks.
Hiya, Pacey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty well, TJ. I'm hoping to get my work done as soon as I can, so I have time to get ready to see the new Action Chugger movie.
Oh, you mean Golden Window?
Yep, I'm going to see it tonight at the Chuggin. Or is it the Chuffin? The Chuggin, Chuff, the outdoor theater.
Oh yeah, we saw that movie last night, didn't we, TJ?
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
Well, please don't give anything away. I've been trying to avoid spoilers all week.
Well, it's an awesome movie. There's this bit where he goes into space and...
Stop! This is a spoiler-free zone!
Well, you at least want to know about the cameos? Flying Scotsman turns up at one point and...
Thanks, but no thanks. I'd rather see it for myself.
And then he gets out this giant sword and...
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And there's this bit where...
La 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 la! I'm not listening! La 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 la!
Okay, we'll stop now.
You promise?
Yep.
Phew.
Oh, and at the end he wins the big game against the alien, saves all the cartoon characters, and decides to retire from baseball to restart his basketball career.
No! Wait, isn't that just the ending to Space Jam?
Gotcha!
Oh, man, you
oh,
see a
we're
look on
just
your
messing
face.
with you, Pacey. You know I would never do that to you. I'm just not that type of engine.
Yeah, and you know, I would never do that to you, because I don't want to know what the Fat Controller would do to me in return. He's still holding my favorite video game hostage.
Oh, well, I'm just glad I'm mostly still in the dark about this movie.
Well, we still gotta deliver these tankers. Later, Percy. Yeah, bye, Percy. Oh, and don't forget to buy my audiobook.
You mean the one that's just 20 minutes of you going through your made-up words?
Hey, Calungaro's Drongradian Jerktionary from my own words is gonna win an award at some point. I just know it. It also helps that I have the cheat bribing the committee. Bye!
Goodbye! Huh, good. Only another 2 hours, and I'll make my way to the theater. I can't wait to see Golden Window.
Oh, that's a great movie. Especially the part at the end where Action Juggle finds out his father's still alive. No!
Welcome to Crotoonian Shoots, the program in which we see the Railways of Crotoonia in all of its raw wonder.
Get your finest climbing gear, because today we'll be exploring the workings of the Cliffstone Mountains.
Oh, nuts. Oh dear. What's up, Mrs. Carla?
Johnny left behind an urgent package for Pinewood Island, and I've got no one to take it there now.
I could take it if you want. I've got the mail car you had to pick up from the Coachworks on me.
Well, if you want to, but are you sure you're gonna get to Gridinia Bay on time?
No sweat. I'm the fastest chugger in town. Nothing slows me down. I've gone down too fast on the junction.
Roller freight, whoa!
Big Tim, where's the next track to the main line?
Oh, that's easy. Just go through the quarry and you're back on the main line.
Thanks. Catch you later, Tim.
Oh, Coco, you look like you were in a hurry.
Just a special delivery for Pinewood Island. Can you get it there?
Funny you should say that because... All aboard! Catch you later, Coco.
Man, I may be the fastest chugger in town, but nothing slows the mail down.
Yeah, certainly busier than the last time I came here.
Of course, that begs the question. How does Tracy manage to work in a yard this huge?
All right, people, let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, Rusty, you're off on track 4 with that fruit and veg for Cliffstone Valley Depot.
I'm on it. Oh, and did you need ballast or gravel from Baseline Quarry afterwards?
Ballast. 4 carloads of it.
2 loads of gears from the Steelworks. Where do you want this put?
Leave it to Tracy to shunt over into the yard. You've got a delivery for Colville next. Adeline, can you get Humphrey's wagons ready? Oh, Shelbert, we've had a minor delay on your route. You'll be on the Inkblottier Castle branch on your final stretch to Gridinia Bay with a delivery of stone.
Thanks for the heads up, Tower. Back tonight with the tar tankers.
Nice.
Wow! She runs this yard like a well-oiled machines that run through it. With how squeaky clean things are around here, I'm surprised there's no slip-ups.
Oh dear, oh, watch yourself. Oh, come back.
Oh boy. Repair team, report to Roundhouse Tracks 1 and 2. We've got some cleaning up to do.
Welcome to Crotoonian Shoots, the program in which we see the Railways of Crotoonia in all of its raw wonder.
Grab your tickets, because today you'll be taking a ride on the Cliffstone Mountain Mainline.
Thomas and Tracy enjoy helping out at the Bluesburg Steelworks. They love visiting their friends Phoebe and Ralph and giving them much-needed help. Ralph has constantly kept busy running the manager about and shifting ladle cars into place, while Phoebe takes on long journeys to Bluesburg West Junction and beyond. But the yard had many orders to fill for the next few weeks, and even the extra 2 engines weren't enough to keep things running. That was when Diesel, Airy, and Bert came in. Diesel was in charge of the docks at Gridinia Bay, while Airy and Bert had been brought in from the Sodor Ironworks for a period. Together, the engines had a known reputation for pranks and mischief-making around other engines. They arrived one busy morning. Thomas and Tracy were arranging a freight train for Big Tim to bring out when they oiled into the main yard. "Hello, Puffball," said Airy. "So the big old Steelworks can handle with a teapot on rails? Figured they'd send for some modern diesels to help with the extra workload." "You'd be modern 70 years ago," quipped Ralph. "Now, as manager's diesel of the Bluesburg Steelworks, we're gonna need you to—" "And a rusty matchbox on wheels for a boss. Boy, you really need proper diesels around here," Bert greasily chirped. "Why, you?" "All right," said Phoebe coolly. "Now that we've gotten to know each other, let's get to work. Diesel, dockyard deliveries. Airy and Bert, you're working the pier." And she confidently went back to the steelwork shed to work. The Diesels did prove to help out a little bit, but many problems soon arose with their presence. They shoved trains into the wrong sidings, took any chance they got to make fun of or play tricks on Ralph and Tracy, and Diesel would bump Thomas or take the right away from him. Altogether, the 3 engines were gradually getting fed up with the Diesel's trickery. Phoebe, on the other hand, wasn't particularly bothered. No matter what prank she got, she took it all in stride. "Thank you for arranging my freight cars, Airy," she said to him after getting bumped with freight cars. "I really needed the washdown, Bert," she said when shunted while taking on water. "Your brakes need checking," she said when bumped by Diesel. All in all, the freight engine was proving to be very tough to break. And Diesel and his cronies were more determined than ever to push her to the edge. Next morning, Thomas and Phoebe were sent to Celgreb City with a heavy freight train. They were to be transferred to another train heading out for Pennsylvania in the afternoon. "Make sure to mind yourselves while we're gone," puffed Phoebe. "And mind yourselves if you have to go through Bluesburg West." "Huh," said Diesel. "We can handle that yard easily." And determined to prove they were capable, he requested that he, Airy, and Bert be coupled to the next train heading out through there. "There's a 12 o'clock express to go to Fosston, but you'd better watch out there. It'll be rush hour." But the Diesels weren't thinking or listening. They were too busy thinking how clever they were to realize what they were getting themselves into. Nor had they been paying attention to the freight cars in the yard. "Who are they to boss us around, punting us like footballs around the yards? This is Phoebe's yard, and Ralph's too. Let's teach them a lesson, boys." The Diesels were soon on their way with their heavy freight train. Although advised by the conductor to take at the very least a transfer caboose, they chose to take it as a triple header. "The Diesels on the other railways have no trouble hauling it all at the front with no van, so why should we worry?" But they had forgotten that Diesels on the other railway have special devices to minimize the usage of brake vans and cabooses. Bluesburg West is a very dangerous yard for a careless engine. There's few signals located throughout it, and engines must take care and pay close attention when entering or exiting the yards. Engines must always be prepared to give off 4 short whistles to alert the signalman in the control tower that they are there. But Diesel and the twins hadn't bothered to remember. They just hurried through the tunnel to the junction. The car's chance had come. "On! On! On!" they yelled, and with a mighty shove, the cars took the Diesels by surprise and surged the speeding engines into the junction. The signalmen were shocked and put in a full-on panic, frantically trying to avoid a collision. 2 mainline Diesels nearly hit them at the entrance, they almost hit Callie at an intersection, and Douglas nearly lost his tender. "Phew," said Diesel, "we're home free now." But they weren't. They hadn't accounted for Alea, a little shunting engine who was pushing a line of freight cars to go to Groffman Harbor. She was entering the main line. "Oh no!" screamed Diesel as he shut his brakes hard on. Then, disaster struck. Diesel was on his side next to the crash, dazed, confused, and bruised. Some of Alea's cars had been thrown right off the track, and with Airy and Bert derailed on the switch, no one from the main line could get into the junction. on! Shouted Alea. I'll fetch a crane and send for a few others! By the time the mess was cleared, Phoebe and Thomas were returning from their big run. Phoebe was a little bit entertained from the debacle. Well, 3 diesels too big for their buffers couldn't manage steel cars, eh? Diesel was fuming. Well, if you treat wagons and engines like that, then it's gonna bite you in the tail lamp, she said firmly. Right, shall we try and haul these cars to the yards? If it helps a bit, said a tired but still willing Thomas. It took some time to tidy up the mess, but soon everything was put right again, and Thomas and Phoebe hauled away the wagons to Fosston. What about Diesel, Larry, and Bert? Well, it wasn't long before the Culver Works set them back up and running again, but they don't mess with steel cars anymore, because they know they'll try to bite back.
Hurry up, you lot! There's no time to waste! We're falling behind schedule!
Whoa, cool your pistons there, Ralph. We're going as fast as we can. Cut us some slack.
We're on a very tight schedule, Leonard, so I want things done, and I want things done on time! Those slag cars should be empty by now! And Dip, put the pedal to the metal!
I'm on it, boss. I'll take a shortcut across the rails.
Oh no, not again, not again, not again, not again! Look out!
I got it! Why don't you watch where you're going, Puffball?
Huh? What the?
So, Ralph? Now that we're here, now that we're witnessing this, would now be a bad time to tell you that I think things work a little too well around this yard?
Quiet, you.
Huh? What was that? Well, what do you know? Looks like those sleigh cars have all been emptied. Isn't that what you wanted, Ralph?
I think I mean a minute. There was a lot to take in at once.
Hey, Dip! That was really something you pulled off there. Only, do you think you could do it again? How about you unload those pipe wagons for us?
Oh,
Livy is a sturdy tank engine in charge of McCrackenton Freight Depot. It's near a small town just near the hills beyond Calville and Fosston, and often gets deliveries from all over the railway. But the depot is not as big as others on the railway, which makes her feel very uptight about it. If it's not Livy's way, then it's the highway. One night, Livy was cooling her firebox for the night when Jebediah, the engine who pulled the Calville milk train, eased into the sheds. He was a very kindly engine, but he was rather worn out compared to the other engines. Ugh, keep your soot off my tanks, old-timer, snapped Livy. I've got an image to keep up with my yard. I'm sorry, Livy, puffed Jebediah, but my chug isn't what it used to be. My rods have been jamming up for the last little bit, so I've had to burn more to puff more. But why are you here now? I'm glad you asked, said Mrs. T-Mark, who ran the depot and was preparing to head home for the night. We've just gotten a contract to store and deliver dairy products from all over the railway beginning tomorrow. Livy was shocked. Her yard a dairy yard? But why? Can't that Cormac keep track of cheese with his silly prawns? I'm sorry, Livy, but we finalized the agreement. But it will keep our yard busy, and it'll open up a lot of opportunities if we do it well. But Livy didn't think so. Her yard had to be the way she wanted it. Next morning, the first load started to crawl in with Jebediah's first train. He brought churns of milk from the Gridinia Bay and Calville dairies. Then Tootle delivered cream from Inkblada Towers Creamery. Then Emily delivered butter and eggs from Cliffstone Farms. And Olwen delivered the biggest load of all, cheeses from the Celgreb Bay Cheese Company. Every cheese you could imagine was packed into vans. Cheddar, mozzarella, feta, Swiss, string, Stilton, and even Wensleydale. The vans and refrigerated cars all packed the yards. Siding after siding seemed to be moving vans out and then vans in. Livy couldn't stand it. My yard should be an industrial space with construction materials, containers, and important things. Not a storage yard for a cheese festival. Did someone say cheese? And the more and more freight came in, the more and more she got tired of it. And she didn't treat poor Jebediah any nicer, especially when his rods finally gave out when parking home at the sheds one night. Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, fantastic, she cracked. Now what are we going to do about the Calville train? Don't fret about it, said Mrs. T-Mark. I'm sure Mrs. Ella will find another engine for the job. Now you'd better find a flat car and get poor Jebediah over to the works. And so she did. But her words flew around in her boiler. Find another engine to do the job. Find another engine to do the job. And that's when Livy made a plan. A firelighter comes every morning to ready the engines for the day. After the firelighter left this morning, Livy put her plan into motion. She rounded up every dairy car in the yard and coupled them all together. Then, with a bit of strain, she began to haul the cars off down the line to Bluesburg West Yard. They've got so many sidings there that little blue pressure cooker won't mind having some extra work to do. But she'd forgotten about Fosston. Fosston has two mainline connections, a passenger line that leads up to the big station and the small commuter station, and a freight line that goes through the goods yard. Livy was hoping she'd be taken onto the passenger line where she usually went with her traffic. But the signalman hadn't known about Livy, and she was kept on the goods line, following a slow freight before her. Oh, bother, she said. Miss T-Mark will be finishing her breakfast and driving to the yards by now. But that was about to be the least of her worries, for there came a sound that rattled through her vents. Oh no, she cried. It's the Sunrise Skyrocket! She tried to go faster, but there were too many cars behind her. She thought she would be okay, but just as the train was halfway across the points, two cars were in pieces. No one had been hurt, and soon Tracy arrived with workmen to help clean up the mess. Miss T-Mark also arrived onto the scene of chaos. Cheese and butter lay all over the track, but worst of all was Livy. She was splattered with cheese all across her side tanks. And as if she didn't make herself look silly enough, 2 wheels of Stilton were stuck and melting on her 2 whistles. You're very lucky that only a small part of the deliveries are being delayed thanks to you. But I hope you understand now that there are times when you should talk to us about concerns. But thinking cheese and milk cars make your yard look silly is not one of them. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Once you've been cleaned up and mended, you can take care of Jebediah's milk train until he's repaired. And you learn to think of more than what you'd like the yard to be run like. Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to Crotoonian Shoots, the program in which we see the Railways of Crotoonia in all of its raw wonder. Mind the gap, we're about to visit the busy town of Fosston and its freight and passenger stations.
But have you seen the Carville shunter around here? The locomotive should be fetching my express coaches for the 11:45 train.
Well, you're looking at him. Hey, Gordon. I'm taking over Puffle's shift while he's taking a goods train down to Groflin Harbor. Besides, someone has to look after another's job.
You do have a point there, but not all things can be easy like shunting coaches for one's passenger run. For all the express is an important job for an important engine like the very Doncaster you're looking at.
You're one to talk. Anyway, you seem to pique someone's curiosity, Gordon. as I am tempted to know what it feels like to pull such an impressive train full of travelers from all around the world.
And what a fancy train this is, my dear Casey. The Express, an example of elegance on the rails. Miles of the railway's finest coaches racing along the lines with a fine big engine in front. Like me. He pulls like a bullet train on the line, ensuring that the...
Yeah, I know the deal. Expresses are the big fancy trains that only stop at the big important stations. And the locals are the ones that go to all the stations on the line. Blah, blah, blah-de-blah, blah. We're all so happy in the end.
You watch your mouth there. Not to sound propulsive or anything, but I think that a circus locomotive, such as yourself, should be better off pulling a train down the rubbish and recycling yard. Now go and fetch my coaches.
Hey, is that my train seat, Junior?
Yep, all ready to go down to Celgreb City.
Pete, wait!
Hey, what's the matter, Gordon?
You're taking my coaches.
Whoa, wait a minute. If I'm taking your coaches, who's gonna take my cars then?
Casey Jr., why would you go and do that?
You didn't say where to bring your coaches, Gordon. Sayonara.
Oh, the indignity.
Right then, Luke. What do you want me to do while you guys are gone?
Well, Tracy, I want you to arrange the goods train that Wartime's picking up later today. Can you manage moving the wagons in place?
Of course I can. Why do you think the tower called me to work here?
Because you like to do big jobs?
How did you know?
Well, that's what Humphrey and Roderick told me at your yard.
Oh, I knew that.
Now, we've got to go and pick up a package from the Gridinia Goods Depot. So, make sure things are done when we come back.
Right, time to get to work. This load's gonna need to be shifted fast. Better get on it. Just move. Please move. Come on, move. Come on, please, just move. Oh, how am I gonna move these wagons? I've handled this kind of work before. That's it! Yes! Let's go get those other wagons.
Wow, Tracy, really good work. You get that whole set in just 10 minutes?
Yep, all that lot was easy. After the first try.
The first try?
I'll tell you in a bit.
Tilly the little engine had been working very hard. Ever since her great rescue of the fairy tale arrow, Miss Ella had been assigning her more out-of-the-yard work, which made her very happy indeed. She loves visiting new places and meeting the other engines who help run the railway. One day, Mrs. Ella had an important job for her. We've got some spare parts from the works to go to the mainland and some goods bound for Pinewood Island scheduled for the noon Pinewood goods. I need you to take them to Gridinia Bay so they can be brought to their respective destinations. Oh, yes, ma'am, said Tilly excitedly. Gridinia Bay is one of the biggest stations and towns on the Crotoonian Mainline, and there were lots of friends she knew there, like Skarloey and Rheneas, the narrow-gauge engines, and Piper, the steam-electric shunter. She collected the spare parts from the goods shed where Farnsworth was getting oiled up from his morning local run.
Well, if it isn't the little switch engine who's off to haul a real engine's train,
he said dismissively.
Now, Farnsworth,
said Jason.
Wasn't it her who took a train you inadvertently caused to derail?
It shut him up instantly. As Tilly backed down on the freight cars, an awkward clanking sound was heard. It was like a pair of exercise weights being bumped together. But outside of the freight cars, nobody else heard it. Tilly soon collected her cars from the goods depot and set off for the junction. But the clanging noise kept ringing out, and the shunters who were fastening cars together in the yard were very worried. As she passed through the cuttings between Colville and Gridinia Bay, the clanking seemed to get louder and louder. Until... clang! One of Tilly's glides got jammed. Now it would be much harder to push her driving wheels along. But Tilly didn't want to stop to let another engine take over. I shouldn't give up. What will Mrs. Ella say if I told her I'd broken down with a very important train? So the little engine decided to press on. She passed through a nearby halt where the Greendale rocket was taking on water. As she passed through, there was a small hissing sound that seemed to follow her. Tilly, called the rocket, did you fill up with water before heading out with the train? But it was no use. She was next to the brake van by the time her message was finished. Soon, Tilly reached the busy town of Gridinia Bay. Trucks rattled past on the roadways and overpass, construction cranes whizzed about with their work, and there stood the big hill just before the station. Whoop whoop, whistled Henry, who was passing through with an express freight.
Mind the hill today, the sea salt's making it a bit rough.
Tilly was ready for hills, so she fired off her sandboxes and charged at the hill. The freight cars tried to slip on their brakes, but Tilly was sure to beat them and press on. As she took on the final slope, James hurried up with a small vegetable train from Fosston. He heard a nasty hissing sound near Tilly when suddenly, pop, a bolt shot out from one of Tilly's pistons.
Rocketing rivets, shouted James.
What's gotten into you, Tilly? Don't think I can manage this hill, eh, James? Said Tilly excitedly as she made the final incline. No, I mean there's something wrong inside of your... Bang! A huge noise rocketed through the station yard.
What was that?
Shouted Station Master Scatterbrain, who'd been in the yards checking over a delivery from the mainline.
Robbers? Fireworks? A truck backfiring?
I think you'll find it's a breakdown, said a worried James. Tilly had finally made herself run too much. Her conductor clambered into her cab and examined her controls. Oh, I knew it, she said. She's clean out of water. Boiler tube explosion seems to be it. You've worked yourself hard enough to boil water for the whole town.
Jam piston glad too, called a workman.
It's a miracle she made it to the yard safely. Tilly felt horrible. She felt like she had readied herself for the scrap heap. Later that evening, Mrs. Ella visited the Colville works, where workmen were busily freeing Tilly's glide. Tilly's wheels shuddered a little bit. She feared the absolute worst. But instead of a, "Tilly, what did you do?" or a, "Tilly, why wasn't the job finished right?" she heard a very worried, "Tilly, are you all right?" I think so. I'm really sorry about the train this morning.
Oh, never mind the train, said Mrs. Ella. What matters right now is how you feel.
Well, I do hurt a little bit. But I thought the train was a big priority, so I pressed on.
I appreciate hard work from my engines, she said. But I also want to make sure that nobody gets hurt. If you sense that something is wrong, you've got to let someone know. That's just using your stack.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be sure to be more careful next time.
And one more thing, Mrs. Ella said, as she exited the works.
Yes?
Asked Tilly. Get yourself a good night's sleep. And after her little trip up the line, Tilly was sure never to push herself too far again. Really useful engines need their brakes too.
One day, the harbor down at Gridinia Bay was very busy. Lots of ships were sailing in and out of the docks, and there was a big shipment from Europe coming in shortly. The engines working the docks were rushed off their wheels as the cranes loaded cargo onto their flatbeds and freight cars.
Where are these headed out again, dear?
Celgreb City freight yard for the gas and refrigerator containers. The rest go to the docks in Celgreb Harbor.
Understood.
How much more coal does this blasted ship need?
About 6 more wagons. They're parked by the supplier's yard.
The ship just radioed in to say it's coming into the coast. I'm going out to bring it in. I'll fix the other tugs to help.
Thanks, 10 cents.
It soon became apparent that other engines were needed at the docks, since there was too much for the harbor yard engines to do on their own.
Morning, Pepper Pete. Hi, Edward.
Morning, Lazy.
It's Tracy, Pete. Tracy.
Oh, that's what I said, didn't I? Anyway, where are you off to this morning?
Some mail got misdelivered?
Nope. I'm heading off to the docks.
The docks? That's a busy place for you to work at.
Yeah, but I've worked there before, so I can take care of myself there.
Hope it all goes well, then.
Good luck, youngster. Just mind the bigger work you're given.
I will.
Tracy made record time getting to the harbor. She couldn't wait to start work by the beautiful seaside. When she got there, 10 cents and some other tugs had managed to get the ship into the port. It was huge, heavily loaded with goods, and ready for unloading and reloading. Tracy was rushing towards Emma and the ship, ready to double-check what her jobs were, when...
Hey! Watch where you going, you dinky little engine?
Important engines with more important freight coming through.
Oh no, not Cerberus and Diesel 10. What are they doing here?
They've come to help out with the heavy goods.
What? Them? Why couldn't you get someone like the haulers at the Groflin docks?
They're really busy too. We didn't have a lot of engines free today with all the deliveries coming in, so we've had to work with all we've got.
Well, I suppose that's understandable. So, what do you want me to do today? Shunting big trains on the main dock again?
Sorry, Tracy, not this time. I need you to help Trix and Skip at the supplier's yard. They've got a lot of deliveries and materials to get out, so they need someone to help sort out the trains.
Okay, who's Trix and Skip?
You'll find out. They're a nice couple of machines.
Emma was right. Trix and Skip are as nice as they are hard-working. Trix the forklift zips about the yard loading cargo for the trains and trucks that come to the dock, while Skip takes garbage from the building sites and yards down to the dump. Whenever he's paying attention, that is.
Rattling rods! Look at all this stuff! Oh, you must be Trix and Skip.
We certainly are. And you've got to be... Oh! Ouch! Tracy!
Indeed I am. So, what do I have to shift?
Oh, well, for a start, you can shove those bricks and lumber together. They're going up to Prillam for the new townhouses.
And then you can get those empties to Cranky so we can load up the special Stepho stuff that just arrived for the mainland.
I'm on it. I'll get it done in no time. Flat.
Down by the docks, that's the place to be. Down by the docks, the gateway to the sea. Down by the dockside, we are the team, working together, just like family. Down by the docks, you're never on your own. Down by the docks, it's really home from home. Down by the dockside, down by the dockside, down by the dockside, it's where we want to be. Down by the docks, it's where we want to be.
Later that afternoon, Diesel 10 and Cerberus were just heading out to the Gridinia Bay goods depot with a long line of cars when Diesel crossly rolled alongside. And where do you think you two are going?
Another load of crummy wagons. What's so bad about that?
We've got a load coming in from on those narrow gauges at the junction, and one of you has to take it.
Don't see why it has to be us. We've been hauling all morning.
I know someone who would.
Hey, Diesel! What's up?
Dockmaster Noisy just said you've got a special to pick up from the junction.
Really? A special?
Oh yes, some goods from the hills going down here. They need those wagons urgently.
Wow, that's something for a little engine like me.
Tracy, are you sure we should do that? And from orders from Debrius Diesel?
Hey, 10 cents! That delivery from the junction here yet?
Not yet, Dockmaster. Should be here soon, though.
Well, what do you... Oh, no!
Tracy had wasted no time getting to the junction. The cars were already waiting for her, freshly loaded up with heavy goods.
I got these buffers buffed.
Now, Tracy was not inexperienced at pulling goods trains, but she'd never really hauled goods trains this heavy before, and usually the goods trains were kept to the flatter parts of the railway. And she was finding out very quickly that they were a lot harder to control than she thought.
Are you guys sure she's pulled the heavy goods before? Cause it's not looking like that to me. Yeah, I'm getting vibes she's an amateur. My buffer feels like a cut of switch. Got it. Why she giving her the right of way? We got the right of way. Good grief. Hey, like guys, I got an idea. So hear me out. Why don't we like push you down the big hill a little bit? You know, not like in a mean way. Just kind of like, you know, hey, teach you for next time kind of way. Not supposed to be hard or anything.
Do you really want to do this right now?
I mean, if it makes you guys happy, I'm having a fun ride back here. You know what, Joe? I don't always agree with you, but let's do this. Everyone in favor? Clank. Good. Let's do it. We'll talk about good timing, because here it comes now.
So is this going to be like an easy push on her? Because I'm not sure what the plan is here right now.
about a mile more, and we'll be... what the... come on! Slow down!
I don't think so! Tracy tried to apply her brakes, but it was too late. The cars were pushing her faster and faster down the line, and not even the brake van could help.
Runaway train! Oh, goodness! Stop!
The out-of-control Tracy and her cars were sent speeding along through the docks and down the line towards the old wooden pier.
So, Joe, did you forget about the giant pin we're about to crash off of?
I didn't know it was there. I thought we were going to go something. Luckily, 10 Cents had been docking a sand barge near the pier and had set it up to make a makeshift arrestor bed when he saw her coming down.
Oh, thanks, 10 Cents. I owe you one.
No problem, mate. I'll go and fetch a crane. Then you can get some of that sand out of your valves.
Because the tide was too low to lift her out, Tracy had to sit in the barge for some time. A little bit happened while she waited. Cars were delivered. Engines were found out and punished. And ships shouted, "Anchors away!" But even as Bonavista finally arrived to lift her out of the barge, Tracy still felt ashamed for causing an accident by jumping into a situation she wasn't prepared for. As the workmen got ready to lift Tracy out from the barge, Emma, Trick, Skip, and Luke all came to help out any way they could.
Engine secured. Bring her up, boys.
Now, don't be hard on yourself, kid. It wasn't all your fault. Those three were looking for an easy way out of a situation, and you got tricked into it. From what I heard from these two, you were a big help.
Yeah, you were a huge help getting all the deliveries out today.
Even if you got a little sandy.
Thanks, guys. And I learned something else, too.
Well, what's that?
10 Cents to try out for the baseball team, with his catching skills.
Oh, I get it! Because he got you in sand!